Lein sie wo fik im roiga no sie wo me khol oi no musmechim vetzei som sas me voyo oi sie me ei mo vetzam koi no beer bechov oi no sie lich moi solo beni no lezer man khus oi kol a shemesh mai zra khoi wo vis ki zu as levono lein sie wo fik im roiga no sie wo me khol oi no musmechim vetzei som sas me voyo oi sie me ei mo vetzam koi no beer bechov oi no sie lich moi solo beni no lezer man khus oi kol a shemesh mai zra khoi.
Hello everyone, we have gotten to the finale about Kiddush Levana. As one of our avid listeners told me, Rabbi, you've never made the moon more brighter than in the last few days. Too much. And from this perspective, I would like to end with 3 misconceptions about Kiddush Levana. Misconception number 1, you need a minyan for Kiddush Levana. Absolutely false. The Biur Halacha says explicitly in Simon Tov Kuf Vav Dibur Matchil Ella Tad Medina Mutal Kadesh Afilu B'Yichidi Kemo Shekatav Pri Chodash V'Kol Shekain Delo B'Yasara. Not only do you not need a minyan, you can say it all on your own. Elama, he says, Lechatchila Mitzvah La'asota B'Rovam Ki B'Rovam Badrat Melech. Indeed, any mitzvah that you could do with other people is much better. So therefore, I'm sure in your homes Friday night, one person says Kiddush, and not everyone says it at the same time, because Berovam v'hadrat melech. Better for one person to say it on behalf of many people. Same thing is true with Megillah reading. The Gemara paskins in Masechet Megillah Daf Hey that if you read Megillah on time, you can read it even on your own. You don't need a minyan, but it's better to have a minyan because not only does it publicize the miracle, Berovam v'hadrat melech. Oh, more people, it brings more glamour to the king, to God. So that's a general rule, and it applies to Kiddush Levana, just like it applies to Kiddush, Hamotzi, and many other things. But if you don't have a minyan, or as the Biur Halacha says, you know you're going to have a minyan, then wait a few days, up until the 10th. But once you get to the 10th, you're taking a big chance, because all you got left is a few more nights. It could be cloudy, especially in the winter, and therefore don't take a chance, say it b'yachid. So this exactly happened to me this year, Motzei Yom Kippur. Motzei Yom Kippur, I went outside together with the Chazan and another person, and we don't see a Levana. So, went into my car, drove back to where I was staying, and lo and behold, as I'm driving, I see the Levana. I wanted to follow the Biur Halacha, so I got out of the car, I said the bracha, and indeed, that is the Halacha. Just to add to this, in the book about Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky put out by ArtScroll, it says that on Motzei Tisha B'Av, which is different than Motzei Yom Kippur, not the time now to explain, the minyan that Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky ran wanted to say Kiddush Levana, there was no Levana. Well, a few nights later, there was still cloudy, we got to the 15th. There's a machlokes if you can still say it on the 15th night, Tetvav itself. So they went to Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky to ask, and he said, actually, I said it on Motzei Tisha B'Av. He said, but it was cloudy. He said, yeah, when you left shul, it was cloudy. But I sat down to learn right after Tisha B'Av. I didn't break my fast. And by the time I finished learning, I went upstairs to eat, and as I was going upstairs, I saw the Levana, so I made the bracha right away, because, as everybody knows, it is now the end of the 9th of Av, it's the 10th of the month, you shouldn't wait at the 10th of the month. So misconception number 1, you don't need a minyan, you can even say it on your own. Misconception number 2, you don't need a minyan, but at least you need 3 people. Where does that come from? Well, quite frankly, it's a very nice thing, because indeed, the Biur Halacha says, the Bishlosha Nami Nikra Berovam. From the same perspective, Berovam doesn't mean a minyan. Friday nights in your home, you don't necessarily have a minyan, and it's still Berovam for one person to say Kiddush on behalf of everyone. So, 3 people is beautiful, but do you need 3 people to say the famous Shalom Aleichem? In other words, do you need to say Shalom Aleichem to 3 different individuals? The answer is 100% not. Masechet Sofrim says, and I quote, Va'amar lechaveiro Shalosh Pamrim Shalom. You say to one person 3 times, Shalom Aleichem. And the Ramah Paskin says, La halacha, in Simon Tov Kuf Vav Seif Bet, Ve'yomar lechaveiro Gimel Pa'alim Shalom Alecha, Umeshiv, Havi Keshoel. Same person, 3 times. So you don't need 3 people, you need another person. And if you want a Meiser Rav to go ahead and prove this, Rav Hershel Schechter, in his book Mipnine Harav, bringing many, many things that Rav Soloveitchik did, quotes his uncle, Harama Masazin, I don't know who that is, that says once he was with Rav Soloveitchik in the car, and it was late into the month, and he didn't say Kiddush Levana, and he asked him to stop the car, and he went outside and said Kiddush Levana, and he told him 3 times, Shalom Aleichem. So he asked the Rav, hey, don't you need 3 people? And the Rav says, no. Look at the Ramah. The Ramah says explicitly, Yomar Lechavero, same person. So Rav Shechter says this to Rav Goldwich, the famous Rosh Yeshiva from Kereb Yavna, and he says, that's exactly what the Griz Soloveitchik, uncle of Rav Soloveitchik, did every month. Even though there was a minyan, he said to the same person 3 times, Shalom Aleichem. So misconception number 2 is 3 people is as nice as a minyan, but it's not ma'akev. You can say it alone. And if you have 3 people, 10 people, you can even say Shalom Aleichem to the same person. Is it nice to say it to 3 people? Beautiful, but not necessary if pressed. Number 3. Do you need to be outside? So here, it's not a total misconception. The Ramah does paskin. Ve'ein mekachin ha-levana tachat hagag. You don't say Kiddush Levana when there's a roof over your head. So you see the Levana from the window, but you don't say it with a roof over your head. You have to go outside. So the Mishnah Berurah comes along and says, for a very simple reason. And that is, we believe that Kiddush Levana is kakabalat pnei hashchina. As we say in Kiddush Levana, and I quote, Il malei lo zachu Yisrael. If the Jewish people didn't have the privilege, ela lehagbil pnei abim sh'mashamayim pam achad b'chodesh tayam, to go ahead and greet God once a month, it would be wonderful. And that's exactly what Kiddush Levana is all about, is to ultimately come and receive God and say to God, we are here. Well, that's beautiful, and therefore you go out, says the Mishnah Berurah, kederech sheyotzim likrat malachim. If a president or a prime minister or a king would come to your home, you wouldn't wait inside and wait for him to knock on the door. You would go out to greet him. And therefore, says the Mishnah Berurah, kol zeh hu rak lechatchila. Aval mi shechoshesh be'eze mechush shelo yuchal latzeit lachutz. If for some reason you are worried about going outside, for example, it's not a clean place, or there's a lot of people there that may kill you, or may hurt you, or may mug you, then you could say it at home by the window. How do you say it by the window? So we learned earlier in the series, you need to have benefit from the Levana. So it has to be a window that's transparent, and you can see the moon. And you can see the moon clearly and get benefit from it. But if it's a window that's glass, that's glazed, namely you're not getting benefit, then you can't say Kiddush Levana. So lechatchila, we go outside, as the Ramah says, it's a beautiful thing, but once again, if impossible, or if you're scared, or if you're immobile, you could say it inside by a window as long as you get hana'ah, as you get benefit from the light of the moon. And indeed, in the book that came out about a few years ago about the Bostoner Rebbe, name of the book, I'm holding it in my hand, is The Rebbe on Beacon Street. Beacon Street is in Brookline. And indeed, it talks about the Bostoner Rebbe, Zachron of the Rebbe Yitzchak Horowitz, who was a wonderful and very special individual. Indeed, it says that he was very sick at the end of his life, and in the hospital, his son came in from Israel, named Rav Meir Horowitz, wanted his father to say Kiddush Levana. He knew it would make his father very happy. He wheeled him to the window where they got Hana'ah from the Levana, from the moon, and he said Kiddush Levana inside under a roof. Once again, a situation where you can't go outside. So, to sum up Kiddush Levana today, 3 misconceptions. Number 1, you don't need a minyan. Number 2, you don't even need 3 people to say Shalom Aleichem to. You could say it to the same person. And number 3, we do go outside. But if impossible for whatever reason, as long as you get benefit from the light of the moon by the window, that would suffice to say Kiddush Levana. And I end with what we say in Kiddush Levana, that God should, God willing, make the Levana as strong as the sun, and Be'ezrat Hashem, it will show that the Jewish people will never cease to exist, not get bigger and smaller, but always remain big.